Wacky Leafs family, that's on the road.
It's 420, 420, let the good times roll. Love for Mary Jane lighting up my soul. It's 420, 420, let the world know. We feel so right when the vibes take control. It's 420.
Happy 420 to all of y'all. Happy 420, happy 420, happy 420.
Oh, welcome to Wacky Leaf. Tune in, we lift your mind. News, culture, history, facts with a shine. Rap the Banditt on the mic, truth in the lines. Every episode away, ride the clock. Every episode away, ride the clock. High alerts on deck, your safety first call. What's strong, what's wrong, watch out, don't fall. Tips for the session so your crew stay right. Smart lungs, clear heads, keep it safe tonight. Breaking news, laws change, we keep score. From bills to rights, what passed, what's in store. State to state, run down, know before you buy. Stay legal, stay sharp, keep your head high. Train spotlight with HOWWE rock. Strange spotlight when the turf talk knock. HOWWE rock in the lab, let the flavor unlock. Origins, effects, what fits your day. Body, your brain wave, we guide the way. Cooking with cannabis, chef up the butter, low temp that flame. Doses on point, so the vibe stay tame. Savory to sweet, sweet plate that bliss. Measure and fuse, can't miss with this. Measure and fuse, can't miss with this.
Welcome my wacky smokers and welcome back to the Wacky Leaf channel where we talk all things cannabis related. I am your host, Ref the Banditt. And because we talk all things cannabis related, disclaimer about to pop up. Are you so goddamn bright? This is for adults 21 and older or of legal age. This is for educational and entertainment content only. We do not sell cannabis. We do not link illegal sellers. Always follow local laws and consume responsibly. Nothing here is medical, legal, or financial advice. Consult a qualified professional before using cannabis or related products. Do not drive or operate machinery while impaired. I repeat, do not drive or operate machinery while impaired. Reviews are honest. Paid features / sponsorships are clearly disclosed. Some links may be affiliated and may earn us a commission at no extra cost to you. All music, images, and appearances are used with permission of the license. Everything brought to you by us are owned by the provider. And again, opinions are our own. Okay, my wacky smokers, how y'all doing? How y'all doing? All right, today high alerts. We have new bill that could save THC-A and seeds from federal ban, from federal THC ban. All right. We also have Rand Paul's hemp ban raises questions, and then we have Senator Rand Paul again pushes for new hemp bill. We also have 300 pounds of weed found during routine eviction. $300 pounds of marijuana. North Carolina Cannabis Council's pushes for legalization. North Carolina trying to get the weed legalized over there. Good for you, North Carolina. Good for you. We also have on cannabis culture and history. Meet the founding fathers of 420, the Waldos, and also we have 420 origin story. 3, we have how to celebrate 420. On cooking and cannabis, we have a 420 food playlist. So instead of me reading you a recipe or leaving a recipe, I'm going to leave a link to the 420 playlist so you have 25 meals or things to make for 420. So don't say I ain't hook you up for 420. All right, Strange Spotlight with HOWWE rock. We're gonna go back to the rainbow punch, whatever. I know we're gonna try that proxy, the something cheese. So don't quote me because we do a lot of these, and whatever's available is what you'll get. All right, yeah. That Strange Spotlight with HOWWE rock. And song of the day, of course, remember the Red Banditt mixtape is out. The Good Life. good life. 420, I had to find something close to the 425. So the good life. All right, that's today's high alerts. So let's take times out to thank our sponsor, Sterling Empire LLC and Sterling Graphics Custom Art and Design.
Sterling Graphics, custom art and design. Whatever you want, we can do it. Sterling Graphics. Forever you want, we can do it.
Okay, everybody, we got the disclaimer, all that out the way. This is the 420 show. So let's start the 420 show. All right, my wacky smokers, y'all know 420 coming up. Depending on where you at, you already know how to look for 420 events. Google search, call the local clubs and stuff, see what they doing. We don't have anything quite planned yet because everybody hit us up a little bit too late, but we will probably go live wherever we at. 420, we're going to be promoting a lot on that day, so trying to get more subscribers to the show. So please like, subscribe, and share. Okay, let's get into the show because I think this show going to be a little long. We got a lot going on today's show. All right. Today on Cannabis News, Laws, and Updates. Our first news is this new bill could save THC-A and cease from federal THC ban. Check it out.
So everyone's anticipating the federal THC hemp ban, which is set to hit in November. And this affects tons of products, from cannabis seeds and genetics, hemp-derived consumables, gummies and seltzers, and even CBD products with trace amounts of THC in them. But today, we got massive news, as a new bipartisan bill to save the entire hemp industry could be filed this week. And also this week is 420, and officials have already started their fear-mongering campaign to warn against driving high on this stoner holiday.
Some call this area the marijuana mecca because around 30 dispensaries call New Buffalo Township home, making it the ideal place to visit for the cannabis-related holiday. Learning from last year, the dispensaries, township officials, police, and firefighters all working together on a plan to manage the crowds.
Well, after experiencing the huge influx of visitors last year, we decided right as soon as 420 was over last year to plan for this year. So it's been a year in the making.
So it's great to see that in certain fully legal states like Michigan, they're actually anticipating and planning properly for 420, rolling out proper traffic and safety plans ahead of the anticipated crowds. But over in Virginia, we're seeing a slight difference because the Virginia Cannabis Control Authority is in fact warning against driving high ahead of 420. Have a look.
The Virginia Cannabis Control Authority is warning the public about driving while under the influence of marijuana.
420, an unofficial holiday in the cannabis community, is right around the corner, and officials say cannabis and driving is a bad combination.
Leaders with Virginia's Cannabis Control Authority say a growing misconception is putting drivers in danger.
30% of drivers believe they're a safer driver while under the influence of cannabis is really an alarming statistic, and drives home the reason why this education is so important to help drivers understand that that is not true.
Jamie Patton is the Chief Administrative Officer and acting head of the Cannabis Control Authority for the Commonwealth. Patton tells 13 News Now cannabis intake can impair essential skills behind the wheel, making driving more dangerous.
Your judgment could be impaired, your coordination could be impaired, your response time could be delayed.
The legal consequences if caught while driving high are just as serious as driving drunk.
In Virginia, both are treated the same. So driving under the influence of cannabis or alcohol has the same penalties.
You could lose your license, face fines, or jail time for DUI offenses. Patton says knowing when it's safe to drive after consuming cannabis isn't always straightforward. And just because the flower comes with a low THC level does not mean it's okay to drive.
The truth is that cannabis impacts people differently, including the method of consumption can impact that as well.
That uncertainty is why officials say planning ahead before 420 and any day cannabis is used can save a life.
Arrange for a ride share or have a friend that's a sober driver take you home. Or in general, you could just make plans that don't involve having to leave the house.
Now, while I do not advocate for driving under the influence, and I do believe that the good herb affects everyone differently, I do not think that some of these criminal penalties are the proper way forward. But funnily enough, that's what we're already seeing over in Virginia, because Abigail Spanberger, Virginia's new governor, she's already signed and pushed back on a lot of the cannabis laws, and some of those include implementing new criminal penalties for cannabis consumption and possession. Now, we've broken that down in our previous episode, so be sure to check that out. But one thing's for certain is that more folks are consuming the good herb as compared to years past, and that's exactly what we're seeing right now as 420 approaches. More and more people are anticipating 420 as more and more people are using the good herb, and that literally coincides with a crackdown that we're seeing both at the federal and state level when it comes to some of these THC hemp-derived products. And if you guys recall, a few months back with the longest government shutdown in recorded history, a federal THC hemp ban was snuck into that bill to reopen the government. Now, we've gone into great detail about this federal THC hemp ban in past episodes. I'm going to put a link to it right up here. Be sure to check it out. But this federal THC hemp ban is expected to come into force in November of this year, November 2026. But a lot of folks have been pushing back because it's going to affect and destroy a multi-billion-dollar industry. And according to this article, a new bipartisan bill to save the entire hemp industry from renewed federal criminalization could be filed this week. And that's according to Republican Senator Rand Paul. Now, if you guys do recall, last year, Senator Rand Paul and Mitch McConnell, two Republicans from Kentucky, were sparring. Both of them wanted different things when it comes to the hemp industry. Rand Paul was fighting for the hemp industry. Senator Mitch McConnell was fighting against it. He was pushing for an entire shutdown and complete ban. And Rand Paul actually slammed Congress over the hemp ban, saying that they're killing jobs and crushing farmers. Have a listen.
Instead of a clean CR, this bill contains language that has been airdropped in that will destroy hemp farming in Kentucky and across the United States. Tucked away on page 163, Title 7, Division B of this spending package is a provision that will shut down the hemp industry across the United States. My amendment would strip the provision designed to regulate the hemp industry to death. The bill as it now stands overrides the regulatory frameworks of several states, cancels the collective decisions of hemp consumers, and destroys the livelihoods of hemp farmers. And it couldn't come at a worse time for America's farmers. Times are tough for our farmers. Farmers' costs have increased as the price of fertilizer and machinery have jumped, while prices for their crops like soybean, corn, and wheat have declined. For many farmers, hemp has proved to be a lifeline, a new cash crop. Farmers turn to growing hemp to mitigate the losses they've endured during this season of hardship. But that lifeline may soon be extinguished by this very legislation. The effective hemp ban included in this spending package is a result, we are told, of bad actors skirting the legal limits by overly enhancing the concentration of THC in their products. The hemp industry, myself and others, have come together and we have been willing to negotiate to get rid of the bad actors. And yet, instead, we are met with legislation that would be prohibition.
And obviously, prohibition is going to be a massive problem for a lot of folks. Not only are folks no longer going to be able to access a lot of these products that they have been using for medical purposes, but also a lot of businesses will be forced to shut down. A lot of consumers will be turned into criminals overnight. The whole thing is absolutely mind-blowing. Now, according to this, Republican Senator Rand Paul says that he expects bipartisan legislation to be introduced to Congress this week to avert what he called the disaster of the federal recriminalization of hemp THC products that's set to be enacted later this year. And here we see Republicans and Democrats working together to bring an end to this whole thing. Because like I said previously, while a lot of you guys may not necessarily be in favor of hemp-derived consumables or THC hemp products, a lot of folks do use these products for medical purposes, and we showed you guys examples of that in our last episode. So to now see a bipartisan bill which could be filed to save the entire hemp industry, I do think that that's a good thing. And here's what Rand Paul had to say about it. Have a listen.
Kentucky has a successful hemp industry. There are new startup companies now that have expanded to the tune of millions of dollars, and it's been good for Kentucky. It's good for Kentucky farmers. It's a cash crop, kind of like tobacco, not as big as tobacco, but kind of like tobacco as a cash crop, and I think we ought to expand it. The Kentucky legislature looked at this, and is there a potential for abusing it? Yeah, like anything else, you can take too much of things or you can abuse it, just like alcohol. So what Kentucky state legislature decided to do was to regulate it somewhat like alcohol. So if you want a drink that has hemp-derived THC in it, you go to a liquor store. And you have to be of age. You have to be 21. They police it. There's punishment to any stores selling it that aren't. So they've gotten rid of the bad stuff that's too potent. They've gotten rid of stuff that isn't tested for purity, and they actually have rules on this. This is a big advantage over what we have. But then the federal government came back last year and passed legislation to ban hemp completely. And I think this is a disaster. So I've been working across the aisle with Amy Klobuchar, who's a senator from Minnesota, and we have a bill that I think is going to be introduced this week. She's on the Agricultural Committee, and they do the Farm Bill. Our hope is that she can get a vote in committee to try to attach this to the Farm Bill. So we're keeping our fingers crossed, but it's difficult for those in the hemp business right now because it's a crop. It has to be planted, and if it's going to be made illegal in November, farmers are wondering whether they should plant it this year, and they probably already had to make this decision. And I lament that government's, trying to destroy this industry now, but I'm doing everything I can and working across the aisle with a Democrat senator to try to say that if your state has decided to regulate hemp, then the state law would supersede the federal law, which is kind of really the way it ought to be.
So as you guys would have heard in that clip, this is a bipartisan effort. Republicans and Democrats are both coming together to figure out a way to save the entire hemp industry. Now, it's also important to note that with President Trump's executive order to reclassify the good herb from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, he also directed Congress to revisit the definition of hemp so that a lot of these hemp-derived consumables will no longer be banned.
Congress just passed a ban on all hemp products starting November 2026, including the very CBD products under this pilot. Now, the order does say that the White House will, quote, work with Congress to update the statutory definition of final hemp-derived cannabinoid products.
And according to this article, under new legislation, states can actually opt out of the federal THC hemp ban under a new bipartisan Senate bill. Now, this is big because it goes back to states' rights. And what this does is actually allow the states to regulate and legislate on these hemp-derived consumables. Are they going to allow it? Are they going to regulate it? Or are they going to ban it? It literally goes down to the state and takes the feds out of it, because by allowing states to opt out of the federal ban, they're then able to make their own rules relating to these products. And that's something that I think a lot of states will be willing to get behind. Some states are in favor of these hemp-derived consumables, while other states are against it. Even legal states are grappling with how to deal with this issue. And one of those states is over in Missouri, because lawmakers in Missouri have sent a bill banning a lot of these intoxicating hemp products straight to the governor's desk. Check it out.
Sellers are facing a deadline here in Missouri. State lawmakers just sent a bill to the governor to remove intoxicating hemp products like seltzers and gummies from store shelves. Hannah Falcon is telling us how this bill could impact Missourians.
All things hemp.
Our mellow gummies we designed for anxiety and pain.
That's what you'll find at Slap Happy Hemporium in Rosebud, Missouri, owned by John Grady.
You don't get really many people coming in to get high.
But these seltzers, gummies, and salves are not long for the shelves.
All of these beverages are on death row. Grady tells me they have to be sold before November 12th or his business loses the investment.
The Missouri General Assembly just sent a bill to the governor's desk to regulate intoxicating hemp products. If signed, any hemp products with more than 0.4 milligrams of THC will be removed from shelves November 12th.
Those products that are not intoxicating, like CBD, those will still be allowed.
Jack Cardetti with Missouri Cannabis Trade Association says this bill aligns Missouri with the federal government and protects children from having access to intoxicating products.
thousands of unlicensed, unregulated shops selling cannabis in their stores.
What do you say to small business owners who are now concerned about their livelihood?
There was a loophole. Some of them, not all of them, took advantage of that. Now they'll just have to go back to the rules that were there before.
What could be next for your business?
Well, we don't know.
And those are sentiments which we see echoed not only by local businesses, but also consumers in the general public. No one really knows what's going to happen. Everyone's confused and everyone's trying to figure out and get some guidance as to how things are going to operate post-November 2026. And that's especially when it comes to things like seeds, genetics, smokable flower, hemp-derived consumables, seltzers, gummies, and all those products. Because like I said, a lot of folks across the country use these products. And that's absolutely clear, sticking with Missouri, because Missouri's hemp industry delivered over 10,000 letters straight to the governor's desk asking him to veto that bill. Check it out.
And Missouri's hemp industry is pleading with the governor to save their business after lawmakers approved a bill they say will protect children. Our Missouri Capitol reporter Hannah Falcon is diving into both sides of the argument.
In these boxes are 10,000 letters written by Missourians in the past 10 days.
These are not signatures, online petitions. These are consumers, business owners, employees that have taken the time out of their day to let them know what hemp means to them in this state.
Hemp farmers, manufacturers, and retailers hand-delivered these letters to Governor Mike Kehoe's staff, asking him to veto a bill that would take all intoxicating hemp products off the shelves.
As a farmer, I'm not going to be able to grow this year because we're not going to be able to process this fall.
I know the complaint is that my bill is putting people out of business, and it's not actually my bill, it's the federal bill.
O'Fallon Republican Representative Dave Hinman says his legislation passed this year because of the new federal regulations. But he's introduced it for several years, hoping to keep intoxicating products out of the hands of children.
If a grandchild saw this package or this package in someone's drawer, I think they would probably eat it.
Under this bill, any hemp products with more than 0.4 milligrams of THC will be removed from shelves November 12th.
So you can still produce hemp that does clothing, textiles, feed.
Hinman says his bill just allows state law enforcement to oversee hemp operations.
Is it going to put places out of business? Yes, unless they go back to the base CBD products.
And if signed, it would effectively eliminate an entire industry in Missouri, the hemp industry.
So you guys can see how ridiculous this whole thing is and how much problems these THC hemp products have been causing even in already legal states like Missouri. And it all comes down to one thing: lawmakers not understanding how the plant functions and having different laws for cannabis versus hemp. And that's exactly what this article says right here. Because when it comes to marijuana and hemp, if you believe in one plant, then you also should believe in one rule. And I've already showed you guys how lawmakers have caused tons of infighting when it comes to the marijuana industry and the hemp industry. And according to this, hemp and cannabis are the exact same species. The difference between them is not visible in a field, detectable in a lab, or encoded in genetics. It exists exclusively in a law book, i.e. the lawmakers made it up. Because since the 2018 Farm Bill, federal law has defined hemp as any cannabis plant containing 0.3% or less delta-9 THC by dry weight. Everything above that threshold is legally marijuana. And that's how this loophole was born, causing a lot of these hemp-derived consumables to pop up in places like smoke shops and convenience stores. And that's led to people who have licensed cannabis dispensaries to be like, well, why are they not following rules that I have to follow? Why are they paying less taxes than I have to follow? And that's where all the infighting between the hemp and the cannabis industry was born. And that's exactly why Jason of Emerald Tea Supply Co. says, let me be clear about where I stand. I'm not anti-hemp. I'm not lobbying for marijuana to win a market war. I'm pro-regulation of THC full stop, regardless of which plant it came from. So there's a lot of things that hinge and fully depend on this federal THC hemp ban, as well as the scheduling and how that'll all play out. And one of those things could be that bud tenders could qualify for no tax on tips according to the IRS, but only after federal legalization. Now that could be a big move, as well as other big changes that we could see happen over in places like North and South Carolina, Texas, and even over in Kentucky. And I'm going to show you guys exactly what can happen. But before we do, just a quick reminder, if you're getting value from this video, please do like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support us further, join the ICANN VIP Bean Club or cop some merch from our merch store. We got that new American grown hoodie, The Good Herb. Use that code ICANNTHC and grab it now. And if you happen to be a home gardener, try the ICANN Organics. Use the code LEGAL. It works on the bun bundle and the seeds.
This is being called one of the most significant steps towards marijuana legalization in North Carolina history. But now people that are already selling cannabis products are closely watching and wondering what this could mean for them.
It's time. It's time for North Carolina to really address the issue that we have here.
For years, storefronts across North Carolina have been selling hemp-derived products like Delta-8 and Delta-9 in a legal gray area. But now, the North Carolina Advisory Council on Cannabis says it's time to bring order to that market.
I've seen the growth, I've seen the stores pop up. I would think that it would just make sense to regulate the entire industry, or you're just giving a green light to the black market to go ahead and take over the industry, where the tax dollars should come to the city.
Right now, many shops operate under hemp laws with limited oversight and few restrictions. Now, a legal market would likely mean licensing requirements, product testing, age limit enforcement, and potentially new taxes. Now, for some business owners, that could bring legitimacy and opportunity.
We've begged for regulation and guidance around this industry, and to this day, we're still facing challenges of doing so.
So over in North Carolina, there's a renewed push for legalization, especially considering the fact that a lot of these businesses are operating under hemp rules, and a lot of these hemp-derived products are so popular. But despite an overwhelming majority of folks in both North and South Carolina in favor of legalization, lawmakers are dragging their feet. Now, what we're seeing is that instead of lawmakers opting for some form of legalization, over in South Carolina, deputies are in fact increasing the amount of raids that they're carrying out and even seizing allegedly legal products. Have a look.
Upstate, over $500,000 and a stack of illegal drugs from a local vape shop taken. Greenville County deputies making a huge drug bust here. They say the investigation stemmed from complaints of high schoolers using similar products. Search warrants were executed Tuesday at Panthers Distribution on Woodruff Road and Vigo on Park Woodruff Drive. And more than 1,800 pounds of marijuana and $530,000 were seized. We're told the deputies were actually continuing to comb through evidence, and criminal charges are possible against a number of people.
Now, some of those products may have been illegal. Some of them may be legal hemp-derived consumables. But the truth is, in a lot of these situations, when police go in and law enforcement go in, they just take everything. And that's exactly what we saw happen over in Texas. Because recently, DPS raided a South Austin dispensary. They dropped all the charges, and now the owners are questioning everything. Check it out.
Caught on camera, look at this. DPS officers raiding a South Austin hemp store. They arrested the owners only for the charges to be dropped days later. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Daniel Marin.
And I'm Jennifer Sanders. Last night, DPS explained to us the business was not a licensed dispensing organization. As Gangsta and Sydney Gray reports, the owners believe they have the paperwork to prove they could operate legally.
I couldn't believe it was happening.
Reese Newland said his business, Turp House Dispensary, is still recovering after a raid last month by DPS. Newland says it's clear to him DPS have been watching them in the 5 months since they opened.
They had also said that there was a lot of traffic coming in and out, so that's how they knew that we couldn't just be selling hemp.
Newland showed us the document showing they are licensed to sell smokable and edible hemp, among other products. Those licenses are different from Texas's medical marijuana program. But on March 13th, at least half a dozen law enforcement officers stormed in, guns drawn, and took away he and his co-owner in handcuffs. They spent the next 2 days in jail.
We were waiting on the probable cause affidavit, which took 2 days apparently to get there. Once the magistrate saw the probable cause affidavit, we had a lawyer present, and she made a brief argument that this did not even establish any kind of probable cause. Apparently the state agreed.
The charges against them dismissed. In a statement, DPS said its Regulatory Services Division confirmed to special agents the business was not a licensed dispensing organization under the Texas Compassionate Use Program. It added the investigation is ongoing.
I did tell him that we have paperwork, that he said we didn't have a license. I told him we did have a license. I told him when we got our license. I told him it was in the middle of September.
They were asking if we had guns.
Sergi also says he's seeing these types of raids frequently.
We're seeing more and more of them, and they're not acting as DPS. They seem to be acting as Dan Patrick's private army.
Sydney Gray, KXAN News.
And the truth is, that's a really concerning trend and something that we're seeing happen across multiple states. A lot of these legal businesses are selling hemp-derived products, and a lot of them are facing issues from law enforcement via crackdowns. Now, I'm not saying that all of them are skirting the laws or all of them are operating legally, but in situations like that which we just saw, that business has all his ducks in a row. All the paperwork and all the charges were dropped, but yet the store was still raided, guns were pointed, and they were in jail for a period of at least 2 days. Now, thankfully, not all states are going AWOL when it comes to these hemp-derived consumables. And interestingly enough, one of those states is a typically prohibition state over in Kentucky, because recently, Kentucky has launched a pilot program to reimburse Medicare patients for hemp-derived products. And this is fantastic. Have a look.
A new pilot program to reimburse qualifying Medicare patients for hemp-derived products is starting this month. It comes at a critical time as the industry faces a looming federal deadline that could ban most products currently on the shelves. Madison Elliott shows us how one local company is navigating the uncertainty.
Here at Cornbread Hemp in Louisville, employees are busy behind the scenes at their facility along Schuth Avenue, carefully measuring, making, and packaging a range of products derived from hemp. Company co-founder Jim Higdon says they've become a national leader in this space.
We're the largest USDA certified organic producer of full spectrum CBD products.
And now it may be easier for people to access their products. In December, President Donald Trump signed an executive order to loosen restrictions on marijuana and at the same time develop research to improve access to hemp-derived products. Following this, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid announced a new pilot program. For the first time, hemp-derived CBD products will be made available to Medicare beneficiaries through participating accountable care organizations. Qualifying patients could be reimbursed up to $500 per beneficiary per year for products like CBD oil. Higdon says that will be big for spurring growth in the industry.
$500 per Medicare beneficiary times the number of Americans on Medicare equals something like $32 billion in potential annual revenue from this program. So it is a giant step forward for the industry as soon as we figure out our problems on Capitol Hill.
The problem he's referring to happened this past November when Congress enacted a cap of 0.4 milligrams of THC per container, effectively banning most hemp products. It's set to take effect later this year, barring any changes. But Higdon says this pilot program, along with new hemp-related bills in Frankfurt, make him optimistic.
A vote of confidence in our industry that our industry will figure this out with stakeholders on Capitol Hill in DC, and we'll be able to keep these products legal in a responsible way after that deadline.
And that may be exactly what we see happen with this new bipartisan bill, which is set to be filed this week. But let me know what you guys think about all that. Are you guys concerned about that federal THC hemp ban, which is set to come into force of November of this year? Or are you guys not really too concerned? Let me know where you guys stand in the comment section down below. Now, in our next video, we fully break down and discuss the flower ban over in Texas, as well as discuss the potential for descheduling at the federal level, because that would be big. And also we break down some of the vape shop crackdowns that we've been seeing across multiple states. So if you haven't seen that, check it out. It's coming up right now.
Okay, so it seems like we got a lot of Rand Paul news today. So leave your questions, comments down below. Tell me how you feel. We're about to get into more Rand Paul, Senator Rand Paul.
Hey everyone, earlier today we told you what was coming, and now it's official. Welcome into our latest TDR Cannabis at 5 presented by FlowHub. I'm your host, Shad Dales, and this morning we broke down comments from Senator Rand Paul about a potential bipartisan bill aimed at protecting the hemp industry. At the time, we had early signals, and now we have the actual details. And based on new reporting from Marijuana Moment, we're starting to see exactly how this legislation is being structured and what it really means for the future of hemp and cannabis in the U.S. because the plot thickens even more. So let's get into our latest episode. All right, so here's what's new. So this bipartisan Senate proposal, it would allow states to opt out of a federal ban on hemp-derived THC products. Let that sink in. So instead of a blanket federal crackdown, this bill introduces a state-by-state approach. What this means, well, it means a lot. States that want to allow hemp-derived intoxicating products, they can. States that that want to ban them also can. Now, on the surface, that may sound like compromise, flexibility, states' rights, local control. But hold on, when you zoom out, it raises much bigger questions. Are we solving the problem or just pushing it down the road? Because earlier today, we laid this out clearly. A large portion of the hemp market has been built on a loophole stemming from the 2018 Farm Bill. That's not controversial, everyone. That is reality. Products like Delta 8, Delta 10, THC-A flower, these weren't originally intended to create a nationwide intoxicating market outside of regulated cannabis. But guess what? That's exactly what happened. Now let's fast forward to today. Instead of closing that loophole with a clear, unified federal standard, this bill effectively says we'll let each state figure it out. Now, does that make sense? Because that's where things get complicated. Because if you're an operator or an investor or even a regulator, you're now looking at a patchwork system. Some states allowing sales, others banning them outright, others somewhere in between, and that creates fragmentation, a lot of confusion, not clarity. Now, to be fair, supporters of this approach, including Senator Rand Paul, he argues that this protects farmers, it preserves jobs, and maintains access for consumers who rely on hemp-derived products. So that's the political framing around this. But from an industry standpoint, especially from the regulated cannabis side, this doesn't fully address the core issue, because the issue, everyone, has never been about whether hemp should exist or not. It's how intoxicating hemp products should be treated. And this is where today's earlier discussion connects directly to what we're saying now. If hemp and cannabis are truly the same plant, then the rules governing them should be aligned as well, not separated, not left to 50 different interpretations. They need to be aligned. Because really right now, what this bill does, it maintains the divide. It doesn't define intoxicating versus non-intoxicating at a federal level. It doesn't establish consistent testing standards across the board either. And it doesn't create a unified framework that brings clarity to the market, which is badly needed. Instead, it creates optionality. And optionality, though it may sound good, until you're trying to build a business across multiple states. So the real question, it now becomes this: is this a long-term solution, or is this a temporary bridge? Because if the goal is legitimacy, real legitimacy for the hemp industry, then eventually there has to be a standard. There has to be a baseline, a framework that reflects the reality of the product. And this bill right now, it stops short of that. So the bottom line in this, what we're seeing unfold isn't the end of the hemp debate. Man, this is just getting louder and louder because it's the next phase. Because earlier today, we told you the loophole era is coming to an end, and this bill doesn't necessarily change that. It just changes how the transition might look state by state instead of all at once. So that's it for our latest TDR Cannabis in 5 presented by FlowHub. Let us know what your thoughts are on this new bill that's been proposed by Senator Rand Paul, what you think of it. I know this is going to be hotly contested, both on the hemp and cannabis side. Give me your feedback. Love to read them, so keep those comments coming in. And as usual, make sure to like, subscribe, smash on that bell for all notifications, and stay connected with us here at TDR. That's it for now, everybody. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you back here in the next video. I'm your host, Shad Dales, and thanks again for watching.
We're going to get up to speed with all that. So leave your questions, comments down low. Tell me how you feel. Now we're about to get to the second news update with Rand Paul. Hemp bans racist question. So roll that.
Hey everyone, welcome into our latest TDR Cannabis in 5 presented by FlowHub. I am your host, Shad Dales, and we got some more information regarding the hemp industry, and things are starting to heat up once again. Today we're going to break down a major development and, more importantly, what it really means for the regulated cannabis industry, because while the headlines say this is about saving hemp, the people inside the industry know exactly what's going on, the truth, because a huge portion of the hemp market, as we know, has been built on this loophole, and with the federal ban coming later this year, as we know again, that loophole is closing for good. So let's get into the latest TDR Cannabis in 5 and begin with the latest news. All right, according to reporting from Marijuana Moment, Senator Rand Paul says a bipartisan bill aimed at preventing renewed federal criminalization of hemp products could be introduced this week. This comes after last year's Continuing Appropriations Act revived language that many interpreted as a return to prohibition, something that would effectively shut down large parts of the hemp-derived products market. So on late Thursday afternoon, Senator Rand Paul, he posted a new message announcing what he calls the Hemp Safety Enforcement Act. In his statement, he argues that Congress's recent actions would ban most hemp products and it would wipe out the entire multi-billion-dollar industry while limiting access to products people use for sleep, anxiety, and pain. He also says his bill would protect jobs, family farms, and access for veterans and seniors. He then followed it up by noting that about half of U.S. states, including Kentucky, already have regulatory frameworks in place, meaning age limits, serving size caps, testing requirements, and other guardrails designed to keep products away from kids while allowing farmers to operate. Okay, so that's the public message, but here's the reality the regulated cannabis industry indeed understands. A large portion of the hemp sector has been thriving on a loophole which was created by the 2018 Farm Bill. Delta 8, Delta 10, THC-A flower, all technically legal under the old interpretation, but never intended to create a parallel intoxicating market outside the regulated cannabis system. And while many hemp operators acted responsibly, there was also many others that built an entire business around exploiting that gap. Now with the federal ban scheduled to take place later this year, guess what? That era is ending. The loophole economy is being phased out, and the regulated cannabis industry, the one that has been paying taxes, following testing rules, along with operating under strict compliance, they know exactly what's happening behind the scenes. So really, when Senator Paul says he wants to save the hemp industry, the question then becomes, which part of the hemp industry is he trying to save? Is it the legitimate agricultural side or the loophole-driven intoxicating products market that states have been trying to rein in? So that's why any bill moving forward, it has to be practical, not political, not symbolic, practical, because the industry knows who is backing this effort and who's lobbying for this. They also know which companies stand to lose the most when the loophole closes, and they know that simply blocking the federal enforcement isn't a long-term solution. So the real issue isn't whether hemp should exist, it's how it should exist. That has always been the number one question. The regulated cannabis industry has been saying for years that intoxicating hemp products, they need to be brought under a real regulatory framework. Not banned, not wiped out, regulated. That means clear definitions, testing standards, age limits, and enforcement mechanisms that match what's already required in the cannabis sector. Keep this simple, everyone. So the question for this new bill is pretty straightforward. Does it create real standards, or does it try to preserve the loophole? Does it define intoxicating versus non-intoxicating hemp? And does it address synthetic conversions? Does it set national testing requirements? Does it give states flexibility while still establishing a federal baseline? These are the questions operators, investors, and regulators are asking. Not whether hemp should be protected, but whether the rules will finally match the reality of the market. Because we all know the hemp industry, it's no longer fighting for survival, it's fighting for legitimacy. And legitimacy only comes with, guess what? Regulation. So as this bipartisan bill moves forward, the key takeaway is going to be this. The loophole era, guess what? It's over. The ban is coming, and whatever happens next must reflect the real dynamics of the industry, not the politics surrounding it. So we'll keep tracking the story as it develops, because there is going to be a lot of discussion around this over the next few days and the coming weeks. We're only heating up, so leave your comments below. Let's keep this conversation going and what you think of this new bill being proposed by Senator Rand Paul and whether or not you think it has a shot. Again, let's keep this conversation going, so keep those comments coming in. One last thing, make sure to like, subscribe, smash on that bell for all notifications. Stay connected with us here at TDR as we bring you all the latest information on this hotly contested topic. That's it for now. I'm your host, Shad Dills. I'll see you in the next video, and thanks again for watching, everyone. Take care.
Okay, so they're going to let the states figure it out. You mean the greedy states with the greedy taxes? It's like the closer we get to legalization, the more bullshit. I know I said this before, but it's consistent, right? Like, I'm not. Yeah, leave your questions, comments down low. Okay, our third news update is 300 pounds of marijuana was found during a routine eviction.
A mother behind bars and 3 men on the run after a routine eviction ends up as a massive drug bust. happened on the 5,000 block of Canterbury Way in South Fulton. That's our top story tonight. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Courtney Bryant.
And I'm Russ Spencer. The County Marshal's Department says it found some 300 pounds of marijuana at a home there. Fox 5's Christopher King spoke exclusively with investigators about the bust and joins us live in South Fulton with more. Christopher?
Russ, Courtney, it all went down right here at this subdivision. The Marshal's Department says yesterday morning they told a woman who lives at a home here she had to move out. When they came back, the house was empty except for hundreds of pounds of something very illegal.
It's quiet up there.
Tabitha Rhodes could not believe it.
It's very surprising.
Fulton County Marshals on Tuesday stopped at this home on the 5,000 block of Canterbury Way to serve an eviction notice. They ended up executing a drug bust.
It was very strange in this instance.
This officer, who was part of the investigation, wants to remain anonymous. He says another officer showed up Tuesday morning to tell the woman who lived at this home he was here to evict her.
It was a courtesy warning.
Officers came back 8 hours later.
He noticed several male individuals inside the residence as well. We heard loud banging coming from the garage area.
The investigator says what appeared to be a rental truck and a pickup truck were backed up to the garage.
While we were clearing the residence, those males jumped in the vehicles and left the scene.
He says the man left the woman behind.
The eviction crew discovered numerous boxes within the garage, all containing suspected marijuana in large quantity, approximately 334.8 pounds.
Officers arrested Carlesia Arnold.
We were shocked, just absolutely shocked that they would move everything else out of the house but leave the marijuana inside.
They obviously thought they had something more valuable to get out of the house with, so that they didn't bother to try and get the marijuana. That's my thought.
Now, the Marshal's Department says 2 children lived at the home with Arnold. The Marshal's Department also says their grandmother picked them up. Carlesia Arnold is charged with trafficking marijuana. Those 3 men who were there at the house at the time, they are now on the run, also wanted for trafficking. We're live in South Fulton. Christopher King, Fox 5 News.
All right, thanks for the latest there, Christopher.
First the fuck of all, let me get this right. You got 300 pounds of marijuana and you're getting evicted? This can't be their only house, right? 300 pounds of marijuana. South Fulton. Canterbury Way in South Fulton. Let me find out what the hell that place is at. Is that Georgia? Georgia, you that stupid? Oh my God. I don't know what's going on with that area, bro. So you got a mother, which means she has kids, and 3 guys on the run. First of all, y'all got to be the dumbest motherfuckers out here, because if you got 300 pounds of marijuana, why is that fucking rent not paid? How are you getting evicted? What, you smoking this shit? And y'all see they compressed, sealed, like. Hey, please, people, leave your questions and your comments down below. The comments gonna be good, because this is about as stupid as, look, 300 pounds, why this shit have been gone, you hear me? Questions, comments down below. Let's move on, because I'm going like, whoo. So it's the dumb ones that get all the luck, boy, I tell you. The dumb ones, boy. 300 pounds and I'm getting evicted? The math ain't mathing, baby. All right. Our final news update. North Carolina Cannabis Council's pushes for legalization. 300 pounds of marijuana and you getting evicted. All right, roll the North Carolina cannabis story.
Right now, a state advisory group is laying the groundwork for what could be a major shift in North Carolina's cannabis laws. The North Carolina Advisory Council on Cannabis is now recommending lawmakers legalize marijuana for adult use and create a regulated market. WCNC Charlotte's Miles Harris is breaking down the potential impact on dispensaries already operating across the state.
Well, this is being called one of the most significant steps towards marijuana legalization in North Carolina history. But now people that are already selling cannabis products are closely watching and wondering what this could mean for them.
It's time. It's time for North Carolina to really address the issue that we have here.
For years, storefronts across North Carolina have been selling hemp-derived products like Delta-8 and Delta-9 in a legal gray area. But now, the North Carolina Advisory Council on Cannabis says it's time to bring order to that market.
I've seen the growth, I've seen the stores pop up. I would think that it would just make sense to regulate the entire industry, or you're just giving a green light to the black market to go ahead and take over the industry, where the tax dollars should come to the city.
Right now, many shops operate under hemp laws with limited oversight and few restrictions. Now, a legal market would likely mean licensing requirements, product testing, age limit enforcement, and potentially new taxes. Now, for some business owners, that could bring legitimacy and opportunity.
We've begged for regulation and guidance around this industry, and to this day, we're still facing challenges of doing so.
The council also pointing out billions of dollars are already being spent on cannabis in North Carolina. The goal now, bring that industry above ground. But there's a big hurdle still ahead. Lawmakers would need to sign off, and so far, there's been resistance even to medical marijuana. Cannabis attorney Natasha Andrews stresses that this is the time for North Carolina to better understand the drug and its impact.
April happens to be Cannabis Awareness Month, Marijuana Awareness Month, and so you might see a lot of education. It might be mixed in there with a lot of other things that you may not be for, but look for those resources that sort of let you know what's the conversation about.
And while the recommendation doesn't change the law yet, it does signal a shift in conversation at the state level. Now, a final report is expected from the council later on this year in what could detail and outline what a legal marijuana market could look like in North Carolina. In North Charlotte, I'm Miles Harris, WCNC Charlotte.
So North Carolina, y'all better legalize that thing, or them dope boys gonna take over that market. Where you say that at? North Carolina? Okay. Leave your questions and comments down low. What? Y'all better put those laws in place. The muscles there gonna get it. All right. That's all the news we have for you today. Now let's get to the fun part of the show. We got a whole 420 concept going on for you guys, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, let's go. We're cooking with cannabis only because it don't require me to do much. Cooking with Cannabis, we have 25. Okay, people, that was Cooking with Cannabis. Leave your questions and your comments down low. Let me know if you tried any of the recipes. 25 recipes. All right, moving on to cannabis culture and history. Well, we have 3 different videos for you guys. We have Meet the Founding Fathers of 420, 420 Origins Story, and How to Celebrate 420. So we're going to start with Meet the Founding Fathers of 420. Roll it.
420 means a lot of things to different people, but broadly speaking, 420 is the unofficial holiday for cannabis. It's also the biggest sales event of the year. The most widely accepted origin story of 420 has its start in 1971 at San Rafael High School in Marin County, California.
We've been friends for over 50 years, and we used to sit on a wall at San Rafael High School in the middle of the campus, and we'd watch people going by and do impressions of them and make jokes and try to make each other's laugh. And that's how we became the Waldos, from sitting on the wall.
One day, a friend of a friend brought them a hand-drawn map and said, hey, my brother is a Coast Guard, and he planted some weed plants.
And he said that these guys were growing marijuana. For some reason, they thought that their commanding officer was going to bust them, and they didn't want to get busted. So they decided to abandon this growing project. They said, we could pick it. They said that the Coast Guardsman grew a map of where it was, and he had the map. He showed me the map. And we decided, hey, let's go pick it.
We all looked at it, and he told us what the story was, and all of us were going to get together, meet at 420, and search for these hidden plants.
They set the time at 4:20 p.m. They would meet at this statue and on campus, light a joint, jump in the car, and go, on an adventure trying to look for these plants. So it went on for several weeks, and they never found him. But they did coin the term 420.
We could say 420 is our secret code in front of our parents, cops, teachers, everybody. And nobody knew what it was, and it was our little private joke.
And it spread to the wider circle of friends that we had. It spread to our younger brothers. It spread to their classmates. So it started going from class to class to class. It started going through generation. You go to college, and your college buddies, they pick it up, and they're from all over the United States.
My brother Patrick was good friends with Phil Lesh, the bassist from the Grateful Dead, for 50 years. Now, Phil asked my brother Pat if he'd like to manage a couple of side bands while their Dead were taking some time off. So I worked with them, touring around California, doing shows, and I was backstage smoking with Phil Lesh and guys like David Crosby and Terry Haggerty and a host of other musicians. And Patrick, my brother, and I were spreading 420 backstage, and then it kind of filtered through the roadies and the people that were hanging out, and that spread throughout the Dead community. And after that, the entire world.
With the proliferation of state legalization, I feel like we forget that, like, in the 90s, marijuana was not okay. Really, the term 420 is a vestige of the past, like of drug suppression, of, anti-drug PSAs. Perhaps the biggest irony of this whole cultural phenomenon is that what started as a joke between a couple of Stones teenagers has blossomed into the biggest sales event of the industry. This year, the legal cannabis industry, which is across 17 states for adult use and over 30 states for medical, is going to bring in $20 billion in sales. What's special this year is that it's the 50th anniversary of the Waldos coining the term 420. And there's only 3 states that have not amended their marijuana laws. So when you think about it on that level, the tipping point is here. The latest Gallup poll put it at 68% of Americans want marijuana to be legal, or at least feel that it should be legal. In the 70s, that same stat was like, around 15%.
It's been 50 years of the creation of 420, but it's been over 50 years of our friendship, and that's the most important thing that we have going here, is that we're still all alive and pretty much healthy, and we're still friends. We want to celebrate our friendship and the spirit of 420 of friendship, humor, and kindness.
And came up with that 1971, 55 years. 2026 make it 55 years, 420. 55 years. Happy 55-year birthday, 420. Here from Wacky Leave. Y'all know 55. All right. Let's move on to the next cannabis culture and history, and we have 420 origin story from the beginning to the end, Yeah.
Subscribe to the channel.
That's crazy. A group of guys came together, made 420, and it exploded to this. See, never give up on yourself, ladies and gentlemen. Greatness is always a hand reach away. All right, leave your questions in your comments down below. Tell me how you feel, people. Now let's move on to how to celebrate 420.
Hello and welcome back to our channel. Every year on April 20th, millions of people across the globe come together to celebrate a number, 420. It's a symbol that's appeared on t-shirts, posters, dispensary windows, and in popular culture. But ask a dozen people what it actually means, and you'll probably get a dozen different answers. In this video, we're digging into the origins of 420, what it means today, and how it's become a global celebration of cannabis and community. But before we begin, please don't forget to click the like and subscribe buttons and hit the bell icon so you never miss out on our latest videos. Also, please remember that this is an educational video and therefore all information provided is for educational purposes only. Now, let's get started. Chapter 1. The Origin Story. In preparation for getting into the heart of today's story, it's worth taking a moment to clear up some of the confusion surrounding the number 420. For decades, it's been the subject of widespread myths, urban legends, and misinterpretations. To fully appreciate its significance, we need to separate fact from fiction. Let's start off with one of the most enduring misconceptions. 420 is a police radio code for marijuana-related offenses. For those of you who have thought this to be correct, I am sorry to say there's no evidence to support this, as no police department in the United States or anywhere else in the world use 420 in that context. Another commonly held belief is that it refers to a section of California's legal code pertaining to cannabis. That, too, is false. In reality, California Penal Code 420 deals with trespassing on public land, not cannabis in any form. There have also been claims that 420 refers to the number of chemical compounds found in the cannabis plant. While that number might have once seemed plausible, it's no longer accurate. In fact, the American Chemical Society published findings in February 2024 identifying over 550 distinct chemical compounds in cannabis plants, ultimately dispelling that theory as well. Now that we've cleared up some of the most common misconceptions, let's turn to the real story behind 420, how it started, where it came from, and how it grew into a cultural phenomenon recognized around the world. Our story begins in 1971 at San Rafael High School in Marin County, California. A group of 5 friends, Steve Capper, Dave Reddix, Jeffrey Noel, Larry Schwartz, and Mark Gravich, regularly met up after class. They called themselves the Waldos, a nickname inspired by their habit of gathering near a wall on campus. One day, they heard about a Coast Guard service member who could no longer tend to a crop of cannabis plants he was growing near Point Reyes. Being intrigued, the group did some research, and upon some investigating, were able to come up with a rough map of places to search for the hidden crop. Their plan was to meet after school at 4:20 p.m., which for them was late enough to wrap up extracurriculars, and yet early enough to avoid drawing attention at home from their parents. Their meeting point was a statue of Louis Pasteur on campus, and they used the phrase 420 Louis to refer to their daily meetups. Although they never found the crop, the phrase stuck. Over time, they dropped the Louis and simply used 420 as a code word among themselves. The turning point for the term 420 came through proximity to a larger cultural movement. As it turns out, one of the Waldos had a family connection to the Grateful Dead. Remarkably, the Waldos routinely found themselves in and around the Dead's rehearsal space, and as a result, the term 420 made its way into the Grateful Dead's inner circle. As the band started using the term 420 more, the Deadheads caught on and started using it themselves. The Deadheads are the band's dedicated fan base, known for traveling across the country to attend shows and share the Grateful Dead culture. By the early 1990s, a flyer promoting a public cannabis gathering at 4:20 p.m. on April 20th was passed around at a Dead concert. That flyer eventually landed on the desk of an editor at High Times magazine. Intrigued by the term and its mysterious background, the magazine published the flyer, and 420 went global. From that point forward, it was no longer just a private code.
It had entered the public lexicon and cemented its place in cannabis culture. What began as an after-school meetup between friends turned into a global reference point, a number that now represents not just cannabis, but a community, a history, and a cultural identity. Chapter 2. What does 420 mean? Today, the term 420 is no longer just a clever reference shared between high schoolers in Northern California. It's a cultural symbol that represents far more than its numerical value. You'll see it on merchandise, woven into song lyrics, displayed in dispensaries, and even marked on city calendars. But its meaning runs deeper. For many, 420 represents progress. It's become a shorthand for the larger cannabis movement, symbolizing the fight for legalization, the push for medical access, and the growing public acceptance of a plant that was once criminalized across the world. It's also a reminder of the decades of activism that made this change possible, and the work that still lies ahead. Chapter 3. How to celebrate 420. From protest to public celebration. Historically, 420 began as a grassroots form of protest. In the 1990s and early 2000s, before legalization was a reality for most, activists would gather in public spaces and light up at 4:20 p.m. as an act of civil disobedience. These public smokeouts were not just about consumption. They were statements about visibility, personal freedom, and challenging outdated laws. As more states and countries have moved toward legalization, 420 has evolved into something broader. In many places, it's now a recognized public holiday, complete with festivals, concerts, educational events, and business promotions. While the spirit of protest still remains, especially in regions where cannabis remains illegal or inaccessible, 420 has become a day of celebration and community. If you're looking to experience the day's energy firsthand, some of the most well-known celebrations offer a deeper glimpse into what 420 means today. In Denver, Colorado, Civic Center Park hosts one of the largest 420 festivals in the country. Thousands gather for a full day of music, speakers, vendors, and open dialogue about cannabis culture and policy. Colorado was one of the first states to legalize cannabis, and the event reflects the progress made since then. On the West Coast, Hippie Hill in San Francisco's Golden Gate Park draws massive crowds every April 20th. What began as an unpermitted gathering has grown into a community tradition. People from all walks of life gather on the hill for a synchronized 4:20 p.m. session, supported by city services to ensure public safety and cleanup efforts. In the Northern Rockies, the 420 block party at Caras Park in Missoula, Montana, has become a regional highlight. Set along the scenic Clark Fork River, this event brings together music, local vendors, educational booths, and a strong sense of local culture. It's a community-focused celebration that highlights Montana's evolving relationship with cannabis and offers a space for dialogue, advocacy, and connection. And in Vancouver, Canada, the 420 Protest Festival continues to draw tens of thousands, even after nationwide legalization. The event maintains its focus on political reform, advocating for better policies around access, equity, and corporate responsibility. Beyond these marquee gatherings, 420 is marked by countless smaller events around the world. Intimate meetups, educational panels, cannabis-friendly wellness retreats, and more. Whether public or private, these moments are all part of the same story, a global recognition of cannabis culture, past and present. Whether you're attending a public event, sharing a quiet moment with friends, or simply reflecting on the plant's long and complex history, 420 is a day to remember where this movement began and where it's headed next. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content about cannabis culture, history, and education, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future uploads.
That's crazy. A group of guys came together, made 420, and it exploded to this. See? Never give up on yourself, ladies and gentlemen. Greatness is always a hand reach away. All right, leave your questions in your comments down below. Tell me how you feel, people. Now let's move on to how to celebrate 420.
You know, there's a lot of great holidays. I mean, you got Christmas, the time of giving, you got Halloween, the time of scaring, you got New Year's, the time to begin anew, and finally, of course, you got 420, the time to get fucking high as shit. Like every great holiday, April 20th has its own lore. Some suggest that 420 is a secret code used by police officers to signify ganja smoking in progress, while others point out that April 20 also happens to be Adolf Hitler's birthday. Problem being, that motherfucker likely did every substance known to humanity except weed. I mean, the dude did persuade Mussolini to stay in the war with him through the power of meth. But some people say 420 is a reference to Bob Dylan's song Rainy Day Women 12 and 35, where 12 multiplied by 35 equals 420. However, to be clear, these speculations about the origins of April 20th and its association with marijuana are kind of wrong. The real explanation traces back to Marin County, California. In 1971, 5 students from San Rafael High School would get together at 4:20 p.m. by the statue of chemist Louis Pasteur on campus to indulge in the finer things in life and get fucking blasted. They chose this specific time because most extracurricular activities had concluded by then. This group, known as the Waldos because they met at a wall, used 420 as a discrete code for weed amongst themselves. And now we all do the same. 420 is almost as memorable as the number 69. And now, because the global movement to legalize weed, shit, 420 almost feels like a real holiday. And although you might be thinking,
420 will never be a real holiday, because all it's associated with is getting high.
Then I'd like to counter that point with St. Patrick's Day, which the whole point of that is to get fucking hammered. But yeah, I mean, St. Patrick's Day has St. Patrick, but hey, you know, 420 has Snoop Dogg, who by all means is like the equivalent to Santa during Christmas. Yeah? Only thing we're really missing during this new gen time of celebration is the long-running activities we associate with specific holidays. I mean, aside from ripping the bong, we don't have that every year rewatching of Home Alone, nor buying a Christmas tree and decorating it, you know, stuff like that. So me being a big weed man like I am, I thought why not try to counteract this and start a little tradition right here in the channel, and here's what I propose. Instead of buying a new Christmas tree on 420, you buy a new piece. Like, for example, the CBD Bro Glow in the Dark Beyond link in the description. But I mean, you don't have to buy that one specifically. Any new high-getting machine will do. Or even, how about you clean your fucking moldy, dusty, bacterial colony housing piece for once in your goddamn life, you fucking or, you know, I don't know, add like a LED strip or some shit on it, you know. That'll probably do it too. And secondly, since 420 doesn't really have a specific movie that is associated with it, or I mean, you know, maybe Pineapple Express. Anyway, for today, I have compiled the best CBD Bro stories in chronological order to make it a blockbuster motherfucking movie, bruh. So since it's 420, get ready to celebrate it by binging Weed, the animated movie. Sit back, get faded, and enter into the 420 cinematic universe. The devil, it should be more illegal than even meth. Well, actually it is. The ZA is Schedule 1 and meth is Schedule 2, so... Yeah, that's right. That's why I love America. Greatest damn country in the world.
USA! USA! USA!
Anyway, what I was saying was that most people who tweak their first time are put off by it for a while and shape into ZA haters, and people who have fun their first time, believe it or not, don't all become mindless junkies who eat Little Caesars and watch SpongeBob all day. Rather, when asked their opinion on weed, they'll probably just say,
my stomach turned into an endless void with an unquenchable hunger for anything edible, which was followed by a sleepiness so uncontrollable I passed out halfway into my 25th Twinkie. It was pretty fun.
So obviously me, CBD Bro, who runs an entire YouTube channel dedicated to the green plant, must have had the latter experience, right? Well, not really. As you see, when I was but a wee lad, uncontaminated by the forbidden fruits of the world like alcohol, nicotine, and yes, weed, always believed that alcohol makes you homeless, nicotine makes you a little bitch, and weed makes you lazy. Thinking that, I didn't want to waste not just my first high, but my very first time feeling anything besides normal on eating Doritos and watching Family Guy. Which, after turning 17, I decided it was about time I lost my substance virginity, and planned to do so on Christmas dinner, where I was gonna let El Marijuana put its big, fat, thick, juicy, delicately rolled J in my mouth, but only after I had eaten, as I believed if my tummy was full, I wouldn't get the munchies, and could instead contemplate the meaning of life my time high. And thankfully, I had an older brother who was more than willing to give me a puff or two from his Christmas dinner J for $4, the fucking cheapskate. So we went upstairs and started puffing, which Rezex was instantly bamboozled from the magic grass. Nice, it's not a dud. Now it's my turn. I grabbed the J and puffed until I could puff no more. And the result was, I didn't feel a damn thing. Still had to pay the $4 though. Fucking bullshit. Anyway, as we went through the day, I got increasingly more jealous of my brother, who by his words was fried AF. I was beginning to think maybe I'm immune to getting high, which after telling my brother this theory, he concluded that I'm stupid and just didn't inhale the za in my lungs. And so generously told me to follow him upstairs, where he gave me a couple more puffs. For an extra $4, the damn venture capitalist. As I was smoking away, keeping in mind to inhale it all the way down to my lungs, I still wasn't feeling anything, and my hopes of getting fried AF were beginning to look more like a distant dream. When I finished puffing, I sat down at the computer to look at some of those watch while high videos, and my brother asked me, "So, you feel anything now?" No, I don't. What's this weird I'm not sure. I don't know, seems to me you're fried like some Kentucky chicken, boy. I was indeed fried, and incredibly so. Although I didn't smoke a ton, my body had never experienced anything besides a sugar rush and maybe a caffeine kick. So as I was watching this watch while you're high video, I was laughing at everything and was tripping the fuck out. But not in a bad way, it was freaking amazing. Being high was what I always imagined it to be until... Bloop. I'm sober again. Yeah, you heard right. My first high lasted like 30 seconds, and in an instant, I was back to normal, which I don't know why. Even to this day, when I tell people about this, nobody can relate because no one has experienced this phenomenon. But since I'm a scientist, I have developed a super duper concrete theory backed by quantum mechanics and the late great Stephen Hawking on my experience, and overall the reason why a lot of people who smoke their first time don't feel anything. I theorize that all humans have a natural block against foreign substances, a wall per se, and when an individual inhales za, the particles act kind of like micromissiles targeting your cannabinoid receptors. For the people whose defensive wall is strong enough, it will stop all perpetrators attempting to infiltrate your brain. But this wall isn't regeneratable, so if the micromissiles fail to get you fried at first, the next time they'll have an easier time against your already damaged wall of defense. Now, I bet you're thinking to yourself, this mofo been smoking too much of that Einstein pack. And to you, I say maybe, but also I have practical proof of this theory. I used to be a pro baller, and one day me and a couple hooper friends who all have great immune systems and therefore probably good za defensive walls decided to smoke up, and to my buddies, it was their first time. Once we lit the J and passed it around, I made sure to tell everybody to inhale the smoke in their lungs, which I'm pretty sure they all did, but still, I was the only one who got high, cause it wasn't my first time. But when I smoked up with some of my non-athlete first-timer friends, they all got high like normal. So, conclusion, defensive za wall is a real thing and I stand by my theory. Anyway, although that was my first time feeling high, I wouldn't call it my first high because it only lasted for half a minute. My first real high experience was something even more memorable and etched to my brain until I die. A couple weeks after the last incident, me and Rizx decided it was about damn time I actually felt the true love and touch of the Mary Jane. And this time, instead of having only scraps of za, we bought a whole gram to hopefully destroy my highly speculative za wall. I think it's real. Also, at this time, we were obsessed with freestyle rapping, so we decided the plan of action was to smoke up, eat candy, and rap battle to copyright-free beats while recording it so we could listen to our unreleased tracks in the morning. Since our parents were away for the night, we got the whole apartment to ourselves and planned on rolling 2 J's, both containing 0.5 Gs. But we had this old-ass plastic grinder, which as we were grinding, the teeth broke, so we had to use the good old scissors in a cup method, which this would have never happened if we had instead one of the metal CBD bro grinders. Which now there is a third and ultimate version, the golden CBD bro grinder. Made out of pure 24 karat gold, this grinder costs $50,000 to manufacture, and right now if you pre-order, you can get it for $29.95. Nah, but for real, if you pre-order, you're guaranteeing yourself a 1 out of 100 golden grinder, and also getting 25% off. So if you want the most luxurious CBD bro grinder there's ever going to be, I highly recommend you pre-order. They'll be shipped out late February or early March, but the but discount will end in January, so dilly-dallying isn't recommended. Since we were petrified at the thought of getting caught blazing, instead of being sensible and smoking the J's near a window and just blowing the smoke out, we put our jackets on and walked 500 feet away from the apartment to light up, just to be sure that there wouldn't even be a microfiber of evidence that we were smoking the devil's lettuce. As we were consuming the J, all I could hope for was that this time I wouldn't just get a limited free trial, but the actual full version. But alas, when we finished puffing the J, I again felt nothing, or at least that's what I thought, cause as we arrived back home, I finally realized that, so you feeling it? Yeah, kinda. Sometimes the high hits you a couple minutes later, especially if you're going from outdoors to indoors as we did. And my highly accepted theory in the science community about this phenomenon is that through evolution, we have always considered indoors to be our safe zone and outdoors dangerous. Therefore, when you're outside, your brain doesn't allow the full faded and relaxed effect to take over, probably in anticipation of a roadman coming and chefing you up with the mandem. Okay, this one I'm not so confident in, and I have to come clean. I am in no shape or form associated with the science community. Yet. Anyway, now that we were high and in the living room, we started putting on some beats and freestyling, and to this day, I have yet to replicate the skill and precision of my flow that high. It's hard to explain, but nowadays, I can't rap for shit. I mean, I'll spit one line and be like, yo, I've been getting money making racks, cause you know I'm flipping packs. That's facts. Yeah, that's it. Basically, I run out of rhymes pretty fast, but that day, I did not. In fact, even when my brain had nothing to say, my mouth rapped it for me. I turned into a freestyling robot and became dead sure that I was gonna make it out by dropping a mixtape and becoming a famous rapper. Until we listened to the recording in the morning and realized, yo, flowing on the go, your girl she a hoe, making money dancing with a pole, my girl making dough while doing lines of blow, cause we in the penthouse, baby, living life, and that's for show. Yeah, I'll try YouTube instead. What's crazy though is that after that, I was never able to replicate the auto rapping again, so my rap career never flowered, but who knows, maybe I'll try to convert this channel into lyric videos and shitposting, all while steadily alienating my audience and killing my channel. Or maybe I should just make a separate channel for that? Nah, that's dumb.
Okay, people, tell me what you think about that. Very hilarious. Very entertaining. How to celebrate 420. Alright, leave your questions and your comments down low. What are you doing for 420? Let me know what you're doing for 420, how you're going to celebrate 420. Leave your questions and your comments down low. Alright. That was all cannabis culture and history. Now we got Strange Spotlight with Harvey Rock. A continuation of last episode. I'm pretty sure the description of what bud it is down low. Enjoy. That boy, wow.
Got a new concentrate for you.
Ooh, I was wondering what the hell is that? Those look like chocolate bars and shit.
This is Royal Cheesy Cosmo.
In other words, I'm about to cough like a motherfucker.
Yeah, if I can find my hot knife. Where did I put that thing?
Good. It's running away from the pressure. Good knife.
I must have brought it with me. Oh.
Damn knife. He hid it from himself, y'all.
Hid it from myself. All right. This is from Gold Flower, one of my favorite dispensaries for concentrate.
No, the grinder is called what?
It's a flour mill.
Flour mill, made flour. We floured out over here, man.
Oh, Gold Flower? for the dispensary.
Yeah. Nothing but leaves over here.
Only the best. Oh man. It's gonna be fun. Oh yeah. I really like the cheese strains. They have always blasted me. I remember the first time I really tried a cheese strain. It was at a party and I was gone. It was years and years ago, but ever since then, I'm always on the lookout for cheese strains, and this is definitely one of those. So we're gonna use the Puffco Proxy. I want to use a water piece here. Usually we have it in the core form.
I don't think you guys see this shit. This is the proxy.
So proxy in one of its many forms. I have a tether that I made for a spinner cap on top there. Love nerding out with my gear. What we're gonna do right now.
Boy, got gizmos, boy. Whoop whoop. If y'all know that, y'all know.
All right.
Baz, you got another one. Baz, you got another one.
It's just water piece.
Water piece, hot a piece, not a piece.
All right, so
water piece.
Go ahead and hold on to that.
Oh,
I'm going to start it from the phone using the app. You're going to feel the first vibration, and it's warming up. When the second vibration happens, that's when you
take
will
a hit.
Hit it.
You see the colors? That's some wacky shit going on right now. Yeah. We need something like that for the wacky leaves.
And it's coming up. Enjoy.
I will kill myself. You see how much smoke came out that bitch?
Yeah. Don't waste it.
So just pull it?
Keep pulling. And pass it when you're ready.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how do I know when to pass it? Oh. And this is called what?
Royal Cheesy Cosmo.
Royal Cheesy Cosmo.
Now this
is delicious.
How I like to smoke.
This shit gonna get a nigga fucked up. This shit no joke.
There he goes.
Whew, God. Whew, that shit no joke. Woo.
How about that?
That's awesome. That's awesome. Woo.
forgot to bring cleaning supplies.
Hey, that should get you there quickly.
Correct.
There ain't no wasting no time. And you got something to go do and you need to get right. I mean, it's the proxy core, but
yeah. So the proxy itself is just like an engine, and you can put it as a part of a water piece. You can use the core cup with a mouthpiece and just draw directly. When you draw directly from the core, it's much hotter. So if you want to do higher temperatures so we can get as much vapor as we did, you want to use a water piece. So putting it in this format helps us to be able to hit without burning up our lungs.
I knew every day he had the wacky leaf channel.
Yeah.
Happy 420. What's up, my wacky smokers? Tell me what you think about that. Have you tried that before? Let me know. What's your experiences, good or bad? Leave your comments down low. Strange Spotlight with HOWWE Rock. Yeah. So I think we're coming to the conclusion of the show. If no need to do no product review right now, because if you ain't got your 420 shirts by now, if you didn't order it by now, it's not going to be in time. So, too bad. All right, so no product review. But you know our 420 gears and stuff. With that being said, let's get to song of the day. Song of the day is The Good Life on the Rev, the Banditt AI mixtape. The description is down low. Thank you for everybody that been taking the time out to go listen to the playlist. You already know about the Wacky Leaf playlist, excuse me. So y'all go ahead, check this out, and I'll get back to you after the video. Yeah.
Two bottles popping, toasting up to the good life. We survived the struggle, now we really living nice. Throw that money in the air, that's for every sacrifice. Everyone, the good life, we done pay the price. Glasses up, yeah, we toasting to achievements. Cheers. All the late nights, all the times we ain't sleeping. No sleep, came from nothing, now we really out here eating. The good life, this that winning season. Yeah, we was down bad, now we up in the skybox. Used to dream about a meal, now we sign blocks. Came from overdrafts, past due, shut off notices. Now it's black cards, passports, first class boarding slips. Remember rhyming on the stove, split it 3 ways. Now it's $100 plates like it's cheap days. Every bill paid early, that's a new wave. Every year a new level, that's an upgrade. Toast to the homies that ain't make it here. Toast to the nights when we fought through fear. Toast to the times we was broke, but we shared every little win. Got us all right here. We ain't celebrating just the chains and the cars. We celebrating that we made it out them scars. We ain't toast to be alive, look how wild it is. So we toasting every breath like an accomplishment. Hands up if you ever had to grind for it. Hands if up. You cry for it, if you almost died for it. Real. Now you finally on your feet, feel the shine for it. Raise your glass, this your moment, let your mind flow. 2 bottles popping, toasting up to the good life. Survive the struggle, now we really living nice. Throw that money in the air, this for every sacrifice. Everyone, the good life, we done paid the price. Glasses up, yeah, we toasting to achievements. Cheers. All the late nights, all the times we ain't sleeping. No sleep, came from nothing, now we really out here eating. The good life, this that winning season. Toast to the first time rent got paid on time. Toast to the day your lawyer said case declined. Toast to your mama when she cried cause you fine. No more letters from the county, no more collect lines. Toast to the first lit car you bought in your name. Toast to the first check that erased all the pain. Toast to your kids when they smile and they say, Daddy, you a star. That's better than fame. We from roaches on the wall to hotels with a view. From the system on our necks to the world as a crew. Raise a glass if you beat the odds meant for you. Every toast is a fuck you to what we've been through. We still gangster, but we grateful with it. Still keep it on us, but we faithful with it. We ain't flexing just a stunt, we just saying we did it. From the bottom to the top, look who finally living. If you made it out the mud, let me hear you say cheers. You still chasing dreams, it's your year. If you turned all your L's into lessons, my dear, raise your glass to the blood, sweat, struggle, and tears. We toast to the wins, toast to the climb. Toast to the work you did off the timeline. Toast to the nights that you almost lost your mind. Now you finally in the light, let it shine. 2 bottles popping, toasting up to the good life. We survived the struggle, now we really living nice. Throw that money in the air, that's for every sacrifice. Everyone, the good life, we done paid the price. Glasses up, yeah, we toasting to achievements. Cheers. All the late nights, all the times we ain't sleeping. No sleep. Came from nothing, now we really out here eating. We eat the good life, it's that winning season. To the wins, to the pain we survive, to the good life.
Okay, my wacky smokers, tell me what you think about that, the good life, you know? Again, that's on the Rev the Banditt AI mixtape. The link is in the description down low. Okay, everybody, this is our 420 show. Happy 420 to all of y'all once more.
It's that time.
Hello.
Hands up. Smiles up.
Happy 420, happy 420, happy 420. All right, with that being said, y'all tell me what y'all think about the topics on the cannabis new laws and updates from that new bill that could save the THC-A and the seeds from the federal THC ban. What you think about Senator Rand Paul and his push and his efforts to push for something to happen with the new hemp ban, and the 300 pounds of weed that was found due to an eviction. Ah, Georgia. And tell me what you think about all the origins of 420, how to celebrate 420. Leave your questions and your comments down low. Thank you, my wacky smokers. Once again, happy 420. Consume responsibly. Okay? I'm gonna pop up the disclaimer again. So y'all celebrate responsibly. You hear me? All right. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Wacky Leaf. Episode of Wacky Leaf. And Rev Banditt signing out. Y'all already know. Roll up. Keep it wacky. Peace.
Hands up. Smiles up.